Welcome to the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views show. I'm your host, Diane Sawyer, President and CEO of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce. Today's guest we have with us Sarah Alcorn, Project Manager for Alcorn's Woodworking. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thank you.
I am really excited to have you because it is so nice to have new folks and fresh faces and young entrepreneurs coming up into the family business. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about you and how you came to be a part of the business and where you grew up and what you've been involved in, and just kind of give us a little background.
Well, I have been in Reidsville my whole life, born and raised on the same road, same house. My father's Richie Alcorn and Lori Alcorn's my mom. Dad started the business it's been 26 years, and Mom came on several years after that. She quit her full-time job and went to work at the shop. So I don't really remember, I'm 23, so I don't remember the business getting started, but I barely remember Mom quitting her full-time job and going to the shop. So I always grew up going to job sites with Dad. I'd follow along, he'd go measure, I'd follow and just probably annoy everybody there. But it was really cool getting to see it, and I was like, this would be cool to do this as I get older, but I'm a female. There's not that many in the business. I would be younger going into the business, and it's a lot of older people. So I went to school at Liberty University, and I started out with social work, and just really felt that's where God wanted me to be. And then 2 weeks before junior year, I switched my major to business entrepreneurship, and I was like, you know what? Dad's built this business. Mom and Dad have built it. I don't want it to just be done when Dad says he's finished. So I just felt like I'd be stupid to pass the opportunity up. So I switched to business and then came back. I've been at the shop a little over a year now, full time. We have salesmen come in and they say, how long have you been doing this? And I say 23 years, but a year officially. So it's been getting back into the shop and actually learning, not just paying attention to what's happening on the job sites, but actually getting back in and learning this is what you need to do in this situation. Has been challenging, but it's been fun.
So it sounds like you were born for this and that you were really enjoying getting to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. Tell me, how interesting has it been? You say a year now officially. How was it trying to come on board during the pandemic and figuring out what that looked like as far as business? Because I know that a lot of businesses have been affected by supplies and that sort of thing. Tell us a little bit about your experience with that.
The biggest challenge was getting items that we needed. I think as many people faced with everything. So coming back to the shop, it was like trial by fire. They were going, everything was new to me, and everything that was new to everybody at the shop. Not being able to get drawer slides, and plywood would come in, you ask for a unit and usually you get 50 sheets in it, and it comes in and there's 12. So we had to learn to plan around. Before every job, we'd go and count through everything we had just to make sure we could get through this job because our suppliers were saying, you're not getting drawer slides until we don't know when. So it was very challenging, just not knowing, and I think it was that way for many businesses in town. And I don't know how to say it. It's been good in a way because I know that we've made it through this. We can just about make it through anything. The shop made it through 2008 when the market crashed, and mm-hmm. So I don't remember how that was business-wise. I remember how it was for our family, and during the recession. And now seeing this, I know how it really affects the business going through it. So a lot of respect for everyone who's either had to close up shop because they know it's not what's best for their family, or who have carried through and made it through, hopefully towards the end of COVID. But it's been very challenging, but it made our team become much stronger together. And we now have new systems in place, we need to do this before we do this. we need to always count the drawer slides, always count the hinges, make sure when stuff comes in, it's getting checked off and everybody knows where it is. So it's made us implement a lot of new things.
And I feel like probably that's the case for a lot of businesses. I feel like they've had to change their model and what they do. And I think it's really hard. I personally have been waiting on a garage door for a year. And headrest for my vehicle for a year. And they're like, we just don't know. And when we do business at the chamber, you know, we do business with local folks, and even our local folks are like, yeah, but we still order things from other places, and it's sitting on a ship out in the ocean, and it can't get here. And so we've experienced it, and I've experienced it personally. The chamber doesn't need a ton of supplies or things like that, because we're in the business of people, right? But that's been the struggle for us, is how do we help our people? How do we look at a shop like yours and say, what can we do to help them? And the best that we've been able to do is to continue to support them and tell people about them and encourage folks to get involved so that they know about opportunities and ways that they can strengthen or grow their business or have great relationships with their financial institutions or whoever it is that they need, right? Like to be successful. So I know that one of the things that you are doing is we have invited you to be an ambassador for the chamber. And I know that while that is new to you, do you want to talk a little bit about why it's important for you to be involved in the community and what you're looking to get out of meeting folks and participating in things?
I'm very excited. I haven't made it to an event yet. I was telling someone earlier that it's been probably 3 months since I've had a full day in the office. We've been on job sites with customers. I'm trying to go to more job sites, just be there for the guys, see what we can improve. So I haven't been able to make it to the events, but our schedule's starting to ease up on my end. The guys are still slammed, but it's starting to ease up on my end. And I'm really looking forward to just meeting people of Reidsville. You say, like when I went to school, I'm like, oh, I'm from a small town, everybody knows everybody, but everybody doesn't know everybody. And it's very important, especially running your own business, knowing, making connections, who can, like if we need something done at the shop, we had electrical work done when we got our new CNC machine in, and we had a local guy come in and do it. Just having family connections and friends connections are great in a small town, but also having small business connections, I think, can really help in aspects that you wouldn't think of when it comes to business. Absolutely.
And I think that people don't understand how important it is to keep as much of your money local as possible. And it's because, and you've seen it growing up, right? I know you've heard your mom talk about it and talk about how important it is to support each other and do things locally. And so I think people are finding out, you know, one of the things that I hear small businesses talk about is we're the folks that support your children and their little league teams and their basketball teams and their cheer camps. And so make sure you support us. And I think that one of the things that we try to do is encourage people to stay local so that the dollars stay local. And one of the ways that happens is it feeds families, right? But it also helps businesses take care of their employees, and their employees take care of their families, and it all just kind of like begat, right? Like in the Bible, like it just begat in this and begat that. And it's just a really long chain of events that you can't stop. And if you start it in motion, there could be some great things for our community. You guys have done some things that you're really proud of, and one of the latest is this awesome cover on the magazine. Tell us about Woodshop News and who they are and where this magazine goes to and how this all came about.
Woodshop News is a national magazine. Dad went into, the store's not there anymore, but it was a woodworking supply store, and he went in probably a year into starting the business and picked up the magazine, bought it, got home, was reading it, saw the subscription card and signed up for it, and he's been a member of it ever since. So each month they feature a shop, a cabinet shop, and we got reached out to by a lady, and we were like, is this real? When we first got the email, and she said, we're going to come have an interview And we thought that it was just they were going to pick, like they interviewed people and they were going to, maybe we didn't have a shot of making it. And she came and she said, no, you're going to be on the cover of the magazine. And so it was a really cool experience. We've been in several magazines before, but nothing to this level. And like I said, it's a national magazine, and we've had people come by the shop since the magazine and say, hey, we saw you in the magazine. We just want to come introduce, make a connection. We've had the day that we received the magazine in the mail, one of our suppliers called and said, where can I get an autograph? And we were like, what are you talking about? And he said, we just got our magazine, and I'm looking at y'all on the cover of it. And we were like, we didn't know they had been mailed out yet. So the International Woodworking Fair was in Atlanta this year, and Woodshop News sets up a booth, and it was in August, and she said, y'all are going to be there at the Woodworking Show, so we want to put you on the August edition. So at the Woodworking Show, we found the Woodshop News, and we walk up, and the lady's giving us the spill, like you can sign up for subscriptions, all this, and she looked at us for a second, and she looked down. She said, oh my gosh. And we were like, yeah, we're subscribed. And there was another man standing at the booth too, and he had walked up and was looking down, and he looked up at Mom, and he looked down, and he said, is this you? And she said, yeah. And I had joked with people that I was going to take a table and just set it up in the middle of the floor and sign autographs. But so it's been just really cool for us at the shop, and really cool for the guys to you feel famous basically, but in the woodworking world. And we also had just taken new delivery on a Thermoid cut-ready CNC machine about a month ago, and they were set up at the Woodworking Show. So it was really cool to get to see all the people that we'd been emailing back and forth with for months now. They're based out of Indiana, so it was cool to be able to meet them in person and ask some questions that we had about it and get kind of personal one-on-one training before the show really kicked off. So,
tell me why CNC machine's so important and why that's a big deal.
As many people know, I'm sure, especially small businesses, labor is very hard to find, and good labor is very hard to find, especially when you're doing a hands-on business with like a craft like this. We had a guy come in for an interview earlier this year, and before he left, I said, "Can you read?" I said, "Do you have experience?" He said, "No." He had taken shop class in high school. I said, "Can you read a tape measure?" He said, "Yep." I said, "Okay, we'll call you back and get you in for an interview." He had been there filling out the application. So we threw several hiring events, and it's just hard to get people to come. And I know there are job openings all across town, and it's just hard to get people who want to learn a new trade. This is something that, especially with me, and we have several younger guys at the shop, this isn't going to stop when Dad retires. This is going to keep on, and hopefully I'll have kids one day I want to do what Mom does. So just like I wanted to do what Mom and Dad do. So you're learning a trade, and people are scared and to do that. And we try to get people on the team that will come in and say, I want to be here for the long run. And we have people come and go, and they've been great assets to the team. But we're really focused right now on building a good group of guys and girls to just really, we're gonna stick it through, and we're gonna be here years down the road.
It is a big problem right now, trying to find people to help. And speaking of building a team, tell us about what you actually build. Tell us about your product and what you all do.
So we're a custom cabinet shop. We do custom kitchens, bathrooms, built-ins, wine coolers, basement, like people redo their basements. We get in there and do wine storage and all that fun stuff. We've done several commercial counters throughout town and throughout the Triad. We typically work in Greensboro, Winston, High Point, Durham, that kind of thing. We went and installed a set of cabinets in Charleston, South Carolina. We have shipped a bed suit to. We don't typically do beds. We have several designers that we've gotten really close in, and they said, we have this client, they want a bed, and they want you to do it. So we shipped the bed to LA. That was very eye-opening for us, like, wow, this can happen. We've shipped vanities up to New York. We shipped a kitchen to the Brownstones in Manhattan. They were repeat customers, and they said, we've got this place in New York, and we want you to do the kitchen up there. So we don't go and install it. We did in South Carolina, but we did not fly out to LA or drive to New York to install the cabinets. But we were there every step of the way, making sure they know this is where it goes, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, everything's custom built. We do all of our own finishing. We have actually started doing finishing for several other shops. But each piece, I was very hesitant when we talked about getting a CNC machine. I said, I don't want to do that. I don't want to become a factory shop. I'm not interested. And then we looked at this specific one, and labor kept getting harder and harder. It was harder and harder to find people. And we felt that we were in the position to get the machine. And we had a business coach that we were working with, and he said, we had talked about it as a dream, and he said, well, let's sit down, look at the numbers, look at labor and all this stuff. And we sit down, and at the end of the conversation, he said, well, I think you can get the CNC machine. Like, I think it's time to do it. It's not a dream anymore. So getting that, I didn't want to get the CNC machine. I felt like we wouldn't be custom. But after having it, seeing it, running it, we're still a completely custom shop. Every piece is touched by everybody in the shop. So it's been cool to see how that integrates in with our shop, because I always saw it as factories used them, not a little shop in Reidsville. So
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about your team. Tell us about how many you have and who they are and how long they've been with you. And
can I see them?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
It's hard to count when you're not looking. So about 10 years ago, Mom actually started a custom framing shop at the cabinet shop. And we got so busy at the cabinet shop that she had to hire somebody. And we hired Val Saunders to do the custom framing. She is my best friend's grandmother, so I call her Nana. So we hired Nana. Micah Lee came on to the shop. It's probably been 8 years now. He was actually my youth pastor. And Dad offered him the job, and I said, please don't. Please don't, because I feel like it never goes good when you hire people you know. But it's been wonderful. He's actually our general manager now. So it's been cool growing up, him teaching in youth and stuff, and now we're working side by side on these big projects. Josh Carter, he is our lead finisher. He's one of the younger guys as well. Trace Carter, he actually came, it was just random how that happened, and he came in one day for an interview, and his dad had talked with my dad before, and when Trace came, he didn't make the connection, so I thought he was just somebody off the street, but he's actually on his honeymoon this week. So he just got married, but he's been great to the team. He gets along with everybody. He just fit in.
And that's so important.
Yeah, and he's been there probably about 2 or 3 months now. So then we have David Hallbrook. David's been there for as long as I can remember. He's our engineer. He does all the layouts, and he's the brains of when we come to measure your house, David comes and make sure it all is going to work. I can measure, but I like David to be there. Matt Parker, he actually does his own, he focuses on very like furniture pieces, whereas more we do cabinets, and he comes and he helps us out with like specialty stuff, and he's just he comes at it with a different view than what we've had. And then of course Lori Alcorn, my mom, is our office manager. She does all the money. That's not for me. I don't do math.
You don't like the business part.
No. And then Richie Alcorn, my dad, he is our president, CEO, the boss man. So,
the boss man.
Yeah. So we have and then in the magazine you'll notice there's a dog. That's Salome. She's my poodle. When we got her, the guys were like, really, a poodle for a shop dog? And I was like, well, it'll be great. And they all love her. Every morning she sits out there and gets pets. We gather around every morning and we have a morning meeting, what we're going to do for the day, and we start off with prayer. So she's out there every morning getting pets. And then when David's out doing the layout, she's laying there watching him or got her paws up on the table looking at what he's doing. So she's very involved too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Shop dogs are important. That's like a key piece.
Yes.
Well, we are starting to run short on time, if you can believe it or not. We have talked about a lot of awesome stuff. Is there anything you want to share about you personally or the business or your parents or just anything about being a part of the community?
I think going away, sometime when the thought of being at the shop for the rest of my life before I went off to school was like, really, Reidsville forever? Like, do I really want to do that? And after I went away to Lynchburg, I love Lynchburg. If I ever moved anywhere, it'd be to Lynchburg. But I don't see myself moving. I'm here. I think it would be cool to have other shops in different areas, but this is home base, and this is home. So seeing Mom and Dad both grew up here as well, and just they flourished here. I've flourished here for 23 years of my life, so I don't ever see myself going anywhere else.
And I know y'all have a great church family too.
Yes.
There's a lot of business folks who go to the same church, and y'all are pretty active.
Yes, we go Fairview Baptist Church in Monroe. If you ever need a church, our doors are always open. We also, a member of our church has started several years ago with several other people, a ministry. It kind of started downtown, and then they moved around to different churches when the weather would get bad and stuff like that. It's Market Square Readers, and they started teaching people who are homeless, on the verge of homelessness, or just want a group to come to. Started teaching them how to read using the Bible. So every Monday night at our shop, we have the Bible study meets there, and it's been really cool just to, our guys know that we're there, so when they come in late from a job, they know that they can come in and stay if they want to. But it's been cool just to open our doors to the community and let them just
That's
have
really
that.
cool. I did not know that y'all did that.
And it's been a good topic of conversation about the ministry, because Mom was in Walgreens one day and saw a man, and he said, "What do y'all do on Monday nights? Like, what's the meeting up there?" And she said, "Oh, it's the ministry," and just got to talking about it. And so it's people seeing the lights on a Monday night. It's getting the topic of conversation about that, and people in Reidsville want to help. So people have started like, what can I do? How can I help? And it's really cool to see everybody come together.
It is really cool, and I did not know that, and that is awesome, because I feel like anytime that a business owner or family takes part in growing our community in whatever way that is, that it comes back to them tenfold. And I think that it helps them grow. And that is just another way that you serve the community and that you give back to the community that helps feed your family. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
And you answered, it's so funny, you answered a lot of my questions already, because I was going to say, what was the furthest away that you had a job, or what was so it was really cool for you to share your stories. And I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you want to share based on kind of just wrapping it up?
I don't, if right now our schedule, we're booking through March of next year, of 2023. We've been booked through we were booked through February, the beginning of this year. So it's crazy. We are very busy. If you call and we say, we can't come out for a month to look at your job, it's not that we're slow and we don't know. We had one guy make a comment like, y'all are that behind? We said, no, we're that busy. So I know, just like every other business in the county and the country right now is busy.
It's tough.
And so don't be scared to call and say, I want to start this project. If there's a contractor in town that you know and you know he's busy, the longer you wait to get your name on his list, the longer it's going to be before you start your project. So just patience from the community and from our customers has been very just relieving, to know that other people understand what everyone's going through right now in the business world. And so we're booked out, but it's not because we're slow. It's because we're busy. But
and so word on the street is, if you want something done, you better call somebody and get on the list.
Call them and get your name on the list. And
I feel like everybody started to accept that. I feel like people have started to understand. I mean, I just told you two of my own examples, but people just need to understand that, like, life is different. And you say, we don't have a lot of folks that want to do trades. And I think that would be my last point that I'd like to wrap up on. How important do you think the work that the community college and the school system are doing around trades, how important is that based on what you've seen in being a young entrepreneur?
Extremely important. If I had known that I was going to switch from social work and not not go that route, I probably wouldn't have gone to college. I would have, or not to a 4-year university. I would have gone to RCC. And looking back, I know a bunch of kids do that. They go for 2 years and then go to a 4-year. Some of my best connections at college were made freshman and sophomore year, so I feel both ways about that. Like, yes, I wish I would have stayed here, saved money, gone to RCC, utilized those resources, and then transferred or just been done at the end of it. But then the other side, some of my best years at Liberty were the first 2 years. But the trades, they need to be pushed, of course, more and more in the school. Like, you don't have to go to a 4-year university. Me and my friend talk all the time about when we have kids, if they say they don't want to go to college, good.
Yeah, right.
Not good, but like,
there's other paths.
Yes, there are
there
other
are other
ways.
things that they can do.
That's not what makes a person.
I think we grew up in the generation where that's all that was discussed.
That's the option. Yeah.
It was 4-year university. Where are you going to college? And college meant 4-year university. It wasn't even a thing. And it's really a shame because there was kind of like a mind switch to that. And then now we're finally transitioning back. But I mean, I've seen, and you probably know some of these people, but I've seen a plumbing business that we lost the whole business in Reidsville because nobody wanted to carry it on.
No.
So it was funny. I smiled a little bit inside and outside when you said, I didn't want to see what Dad had built, what Mom and Dad had done all these years. I didn't want to see it just go away because somebody else wasn't there to pick it up and take it. So I know your parents must be really proud of you.
They are. And I joke about all the time. We have a place up at Smith Mountain Lake, and they say, are you coming to the lake with us this week? And I say, I work with you. I live with you. Sometimes I don't want a vacation with you. But yeah, the trades, if there's something that you or your kid or grandkid wants to do, let them do it.
Yep.
Get them involved. If you know a contractor, somebody that does cabinet work, or just say, hey, can they come just hang out for a little bit? We'd love to have them. I know contractors would love to have somebody to sweep the floor, but also watch what they're doing, because the importance of learning it hands-on and just, it's not something you can get without
the training, or the experience. And it's funny that you say that. I think that kids are identified early on that they like to be busy with their hands, or that they're good with their hands. So I think it's very important. And we could probably have a whole nother show and discussion about that. But Sarah, I am super proud to have you as an ambassador and to have had you on the show. And I know that you are just starting out on a lot of this aspect of the business, but I think you did a wonderful job, and I am glad to have had you.
Thank you. I was very excited to do this. It's been a lot to be asked to, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We're thankful to have you. All right, folks, that's it for another edition of the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views Show. You can find us, as always, in downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street, and check us out at www.reidsvillechamber.org, and always on our social media channels. So stay tuned for the next episode.